All right, I will let us go ahead and get started. So usually we do the warm up. It's just you and I, but you are still welcome to type in the chat. I know your name is Aiden. You can share your favorite book or if anything made you laugh or any fun fact about yourself before we get started with the math portion of today. And if you want to skip the warm up, you can type skip as well, and then we'll just get started. Can you hear me, Aiden? Oh, I see your chat. Okay, my favorite book is I Survived books. All right. Perfect, perfect. All right. And did anything make you laugh? Let me see your other chat. Series. Perfect. All right. I have to look those up. I haven't heard of that series before. All right. So I will go ahead and get started with the math portion of today. Oops. Let's start with this one right here. So this is an input-output table. What you can do is you can type in the chat the numbers that you think go here, 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 and here. If you get stuck, you can type stuck, or if you just want to work on it together, we can do that. But I'll give you a moment to think about it on your own first. All right, so see you type something in the chat. All right. Okay. Okay, all right. So thank you for trying that on your own, Aiden. Now I'm going to walk through it together. So this one says, complete the table using the rule. The rule, they've made it a little easier for us. They told us what the rule is. So we didn't have to figure it out. You add 10, all right? Let me clear off some of this. And whenever you're moving or working with an input-output table, you start on the left and apply the rule to the right, okay? So if they put the number -17 in, when you add 10, you get -7. If you put the number -7 in, when you add 10, you would have 3. And I'm going to show you why that is. Okay, so I'm going to make a number line on the right-hand side of my screen. I'm going to label -7. Oops, that's -7 right there. They want us to add 10. Whenever we're doing addition, we move to the right. All right, so I'm going to add 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That puts me at 0, and I'd have 3 left over. So that's plus 10. What I think you were doing, because your first answer that you told me, what did you say? You said -17. So you were moving backwards this way. That's totally okay. It's a very common mistake. We want to make sure whenever we're adding, we're moving to the right. So that's how we get 3 for that first number. Okay. Then I'm going to make another number line for the second pair. I'm going to make a blank sheet where I can work again. Okay. On this number line, I will start off with -6. And actually, before I show you how to do it, I want to try that one again. So if we have -6 and we add 10 to the right, what would that give us, Aiden? And you can draw out a number line on your piece of paper to help. All right, let me see what you typed. 4, perfect, perfect. So you got it. Awesome, awesome. Now the last 2 pairs are a little bit tricky. They gave us the output, so we have to kind of work backwards in our heads. I'm gonna clear off the screen a little bit. I'm gonna make a number line. Okay. I'm gonna put 5 because that's the output, and that's 0. What number did we start off with or put in to end up with 5 when we added 10? So take a look at that number line I drew and see if you can figure out where we started. They want to know where we started. All right, I see you type something, -5. Perfect, perfect. Okay. Now see if you can figure out that last number without a number line or without me drawing the number line. See if you can figure out that last input. All right, let's see. 0, perfect, awesome, good job. All right, so I'm gonna clear off those drawings. And here is another problem. Okay. So try your best. You can take a guess, tell me if you get stuck, but see how far you can do it on your own first. All right. See, y equals 5. Okay. Okay. So let's look at this one together. All right. So let me get my highlighter. It says, Ivan wants to save up some money to buy a new smartphone. So he babysits on the weekends. There is a proportional relationship between the time Ivan spends babysitting, X, and the amount of money he earns babysitting, Y. Okay. Write an equation for the relationship between X and Y. Simplify any fractions. Now you were very close, Aiden. You said Y equals 5. Your equation should have an X in it. So where would you put the X? Try it one more time. And if you're not sure where the X goes, that's perfectly all right too. Right? Help, that's okay. That's okay. So I love that you noticed there's a 5 somewhere in our relationship there. Okay, so, and you may not have learned this fully yet in 7th grade. You may learn it towards the very end of the year. Okay, so what they said is there's a proportional or predictable relationship. It's similar to our input-output table. If you put the number X in, you know what will come out, okay? So let's look at what's happening in this table. If we go to from 1 to 5, you could add 4, but that's not what is happening at each of these rows. We're multiplying by 5 here. 1 times 5 is 5. Let me make sure that looks like a multiplication symbol. 1 times 5 equals 5. Here, 2 times 5 equals 10. 3 times 5 equals 15. And 4 times 5 equals 20. Okay. So if we want to know what y is, we just have to multiply our x by 5. You can write it like that, or you can write it like this. Y equals 5x. Okay. Because if that was a 1, it'd be 5. If that was a 2, it'd be 10. So our equation would be y equals 5 times x. Have you seen something like this before, Aiden? Let me see what you said. Yes, yeah. Okay. All right. And here we were multiplying by 5 each time. All right. Good job. Good job. I'm going to clear off my drawings. All right. Let's try this one. And this one, I think it's an 8th grade concept. So it's a little challenging, but see how far you get with it. And if you ask for help, you can do it. If you want help, you can just type help in the chat. All right, let's see what you said. Perfect. So you said J equals 9. Awesome. You'll notice they said or. There's one other answer that would work, and this is where it can get a little tricky. What else could you plug in? One other. Help, that's okay. That's okay. All right. So, you know, when we're dealing with squaring numbers or powers, it means we're going to multiply that number by itself so many times. In this case, it's 2 times. So you could do 9 times 9 equals 81. You could also do negative 9 times negative 9 equals 81. Because when you're multiplying negative numbers by each other, they cancel out and just become positive, okay? Have you seen this rule before? And you may not have, because I think it's for 8th graders. No, okay, that's all right. But it's great that you knew what the square root of 81 is. That's more important for 7th grade. This last part about negatives, that's something you'll work with next year. So you'll be ready for it next year. Okay, so I'm going to clear off my drawings real quick. Let me clear them off. Clear, clear, clear. Oops. Oh, okay, so we have one more math problem and then we'll take a break. So type the missing number. This goes back to our number line. I always want to make sure we remember how it works. All right. 1. Perfect, perfect. All right. So that is all the math that I have for today. We can take a quick 5-minute break. And then when you come back, you can tell me some math topics you feel like you want a little bit more practice with. And then we'll work on reading and then you'll be done for the day. So you can take a quick 5-minute break and we'll come back together at 1:57. All right, Aiden, are you there? You can just type in the chat when you're back. All right, looks like perfect. So it's just you and I on the call. Is there any topic that you learned recently or maybe a while ago that you'd like a little bit of practice on before any math topic before we go on to reading? And if you just want to skip to reading, that's fine as well. All right. Anything with fractions. All right. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to stop sharing for one moment because I have a little study guide that I can give you that you can use if you'd like. Let me see if I can find it. One moment. I know fractions can be so tricky sometimes. I think this is what I mean. All right, so I'm going to share my screen real quick. So this is a boot camp that I took my students through over the winter break. So it's kind of Christmas themed. I'll show you what it looks like real quick, and then I'll put the link in the chat and you can save it and practice with it if you'd like later. So those are some of the students that were there. So it gives you some refreshers on the definitions of fractions, parts of a fraction. It shows you how to convert, how to draw different parts of the fraction. And then a later part shows you how to do addition and subtraction with fractions. So that's what I'm going to, let me get the link for it. Which one would I want to do? View only link, copy. Okay, so I'm going to put this link in the chat. And you can open that and then add it to your favorites in case you want to go through that little review packet. And there may be a part 2. Let me look at it real quick. All right, so you're welcome to use that to review fractions. And then I will pull up the language arts portion for today. Give me 1 second. Okay. So we'll start off with theme and we'll do a couple different skills that'll show up on the EOG. Okay, so try this one. And then when you're ready to talk about it, you can just type in the chat and let me know. All right. Can you make this like ABC and unmatch it? Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so here is A, B, and then 1 and 2. So you can tell me A1, A2, or B1, B2. All right, let's see what you got. 1A, 2B. Okay, so 1A, 2B, right? And this is the Hollow Kingdom excerpt. If you love her enough to give up your world for her, don't you think she would want to do the same for you? People are willing to make sacrifices for the people they care about. Perfect. She looked around at the stars, the moon, the trees. These were things she could count on. Nature can be a source of courage and comfort. Perfect. Okay, we'll do one more like this and then we'll practice another skill. And here's A over here, B right here, 1 right here, and 2 right there. All right, let's see what you said. 1A, 2B. Okay, let me match those up for you. Okay. Knowledge is the fruit of wisdom, to be eaten carefully and digested fully. Unlike that lunch you are bolting down, little friend. You must learn new things slowly and thoughtfully. Perfect. Maybe the sword does have some magic. Personally, I think it's the warrior who wields it. The power of tools lie in its user. You're great at these. Okay, so let's do a different skill because you're good at those. Okay, let's try main idea. Let's do 1 or 2 of these. And then you can type in the chat 1, 2, or 3. All right, all right. You said 2, perfect. Students designs Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Maya Lin was an architecture student at Yale University when she completed a special class assignment, a monument to the veterans of the Vietnam War. The assignment was inspired by the October 1980 announcement of a national design competition for such a memorial to be built in Washington, D.C. Lin's professor gave her design only a B, but encouraged her to enter into the competition. More than 1,400 entries were submitted and judged anonymously. Most of the other entrants were trained architects, whereas Lynn hadn't yet completed her degree in architecture. Yet Lynn's design took first place, earning her $20,000 in prize money. She later wrote, "From the very beginning, I often wondered, if it had not been an anonymous entry, but rather an entry by Maya Lin, would I have been selected?" And you picked 2. Maya Lin received a B for her design for Memorial to Vietnam Veterans, but she was encouraged to enter it into a national competition. Okay, I always recommend that we read all the answers before we pick one, so I'm going to pick the first answer as well. Okay. Maya Lin's design won first prize in a competition and went on to become the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Maya Lin received a B for her design for Memorial to Vietnam Veterans, but she was encouraged to enter into a national competition. Maya Lin was just a student, but her design won a national competition for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. All right. Now, sometimes finding the main idea can be really tricky, and I'm stuck between a couple of the answers. What I always recommend is when you're answering these type of questions, for a moment, ignore the answers and you decide based on the passage what you think the most important details are. So, Aiden, what do you think are the important details in this passage? If you were to type it, kind of the key points you think someone would want to know or should know. All right, so I see you put something in the chat. Maya was an architecture student. Is there any other super important detail? She completed a special class assignment. Maybe pick one final important detail. All right, and you said she got a B, but her professor influenced her to join a competition. Okay, so I always recommend if those are the main ideas that you remember, you want to make sure the answer that you pick includes those main ideas. We don't want to pick an option that ignores important details from the story. So let me see if I can clear off that drawing that I made. Okay. So based on the details you gave me, I think we may want to go with the third option. Okay. She was just a student, but her design won a national competition for the Vietnam Veterans Memorial. Okay. The first option ignores the fact that she's a student. The second option ignores the fact that she won. The third option includes the fact that she's a student and includes the fact that she won. We never want to ignore important details like the ones you typed in the chat. Okay, let's try one more like this. And then you can type 1, 2, or 3 when you're ready. All right, let's see what you said. So you said the first one. Okay. Roach robots to the rescue. When buildings collapse, it is extremely difficult to safely locate and rescue people trapped inside. Victims may be wedged into small spaces, and unstable rubble could collapse on rescue workers. An alternative to human rescue workers may be robot cockroaches. Real cockroaches are protected by strong yet flexible exoskeleton. They can also flatten their bodies through tiny cracks. A robotics researcher from Harvard University and a biomechanics expert from University of California, Berkeley, were inspired to create mini robots that have the same features. The roach robots can squeeze through small spaces and skitter over unstable environments. Fitted with cameras and microphones, they could be used in disasters to locate victims. What is the main idea of the passage? It is dangerous to search inside collapsed buildings, but cockroach-like robots can go places where human searchers can't or shouldn't. Cockroach-like robots can fit through small cracks and move through unstable rubble. Inspired by the strength and quickness of cockroaches, researchers created robots with the same characteristics. All right. So the second option and the third option kind of ignore the main idea of why you would want these type of robots. The fact that it can be dangerous to search for people in collapsed buildings. That's the whole reason they're doing this research. So you want to make sure the main idea includes that detail. So I agree with you 100% on the first option. And let's see if we are correct. Perfect, perfect. Okay. I think we have time for one more topic, one more question, and then you will be all done for today. Okay, so let's do really quickly author's purpose, one of those, and then we will be done. All right. So try this one, this last problem, and then you are free to go. One, okay. So in 1968, Shirley Chisholm became the first African-American woman elected to the U.S. Congress. Not long after that achievement, she made history again. Chisholm, a Democrat, ran for president in 1972, becoming the first woman and the first African-American to run for the nomination of a major political party. After losing the nomination to George McGovern, Chisholm went on to serve 5 more terms in the House of Representatives. She left Congress in 1983 and went on to teach politics at Mount Holyoke College from 1983 to 1987. Shirley Chisholm died in 2005 at the age of 80. All right. And you said the first option, let me double check. Yep. To introduce readers to Shirley Chisholm's political career. Perfect, perfect, awesome. Well, that is all that I have for you today, Aiden. You did wonderful. I always appreciate you taking time out of your weekend to practice and prepare for the EOG. I know you're going to do great on it. I hope you have a great week at school. And if you don't have any questions for me, I will see you next week. All right. Bye. All right. Bye-bye. Have a great one.